Kids need to start understanding money at like 3, or they're not going to understand money. Kids become savers and spenders very early in life. So if you wait till high school, there are habits established that your kids are going to have to work so hard to break. So why not give them good habits early on?
Welcome to the Coles Ventures Podcast.
Great.
Ready to get started? Tell the world about
Let's go.
my first nest egg. I'm actually very excited to talk to you about this because I feel like I've been harping on this for a while.
Yeah.
Like I never got taught financial education in school. I mean, I got taught by my parents, and even that was like, they're teaching me through their learnings and their experiences, which like, lucky for me was like better than most. But then as I go on with my life and like learning more about how you can leverage debt or like do this or do that, there's a lot of things that like I didn't even learn that, to kind of get the whole gambit is crazy. You have a very interesting background going from, law, legal, to then now doing this, which I'm sure there are some overlap, and I'm sure, we can get into like why you made this jump and all that. But yeah, if you kind of want to just go through the whole gambit, that would be awesome.
Sure. Well, let me start by telling you kind of where my first nest egg came from.
Yeah.
So it is 2020. COVID has hit, and Nicole, who I knew through our children, they go to school together. Okay. We were doing kind of a pod together. We had our kids together, doing all their e-learning. And I have 4 children. Nicole has 3. At the time, they were all under 10 years old.
Okay.
So we have all these kids home, and we realize that our kids are just financially illiterate. They do not understand money. And the way that came about was our sons, I don't know how old they are, probably 8, they disappear with an iPad because there were iPads in the house because they had to study on them. And we find them in my son's bedroom, and they are on Amazon working on buying a crossbow.
As you do, as a 10-year-old boy.
Absolutely.
You're like, that looks awesome.
You're like, guys, how are you going to pay for that crossbow? Like that's the biggest issue. And they said, no, it's free. Don't worry about it. It says free shipping. So it shows up for free. I was like, no. The shipping's included in the price. It is not shipped free. It is free shipping. So that was kind of our first little clue in. There were other things. They expected packages to show up right that day. And it wasn't happening anymore. Right.
Yep.
And it just occurred to us, these kids think everything in the world is free because we're just buying it all for them.
Just shows up in the fridge. What
Absolutely.
do you mean?
Everything. And Nicole and I were not raised like that. We just were not. We were raised in a different world. We understood that things cost money. Things were not as plentiful for either of us, much more blue collar. And we realized we were doing our kids a huge disservice. So we go on a camping trip. Well, we were camping. Nicole rented a little RV. And we just kind of had this moment where we realized we needed to do something about this for our kids. And we were going to find a technology solution because that's where we are with our kids.
Yeah.
And we left that camping trip and started looking for something for our kids. And like I said, they were all under 10 at the time, and there just wasn't anything out there. When people were talking about financial education, they were all talking high school age. No one was really talking about the little kids. But the stat that probably kind of struck us the most is that financial habits are really set at a very, very young age. Like kids need to start understanding money at like 3, or they're not going to understand money. Kids become savers and spenders very early in life. So if you wait till high school, there are habits established that your kids are going to have to work so hard to break. So why not give them good habits early on? So we didn't really set out to start a company. We just kind of set out to build a product for our kids. Yeah. So we built our first app with the help of Adam Parrish. He is local.
Yep. Adam Parrish, he's great.
Just the best. My mom introduced him to us. Nicole and I knew nothing about building an app. So I go to, of course, my 80-year-old mother, who knows more about technology than anyone I know. And say, how can we do this? She's like, I've got a kid, he'll help you build one. So for $1,200, Adam builds us an app. Yeah. And we put it in the Play Store and the App Store, and we message our friends. And we're like, hey, can you guys test this for us? And they're like, absolutely. So our friends start testing the app, and the craziest thing happened. They started actually using it. So I mean, girlfriends are the best. They will like do anything for
Right.
you. They're all on it. They're using it at the beginning.
Yeah.
They're sending us feedback, and I know they're using it to help us. But then it keeps going, and they keep using it, and they're improving the app, and they're messaging us. And one morning we get a text, and it's like, hey, Max wants more chores. He woke me up and he said, I need more chores. I want to earn more money. I want to do more puzzle. Like, he wanted to help around the house. And that was kind of a moment for us where we're like, wow, this is working.
Right.
And it's not just our kids.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things, and that's surprising that it, hits at like 3 to 4 to 5 years old. I mean, that totally makes sense now that you say that. But I mean, yeah, so many people focus on middle school, high school as being like, okay, they're going to start driving, and you start paying for gas, like trying to budget that, doing more things with friends, like all that. I mean, before that, it's kind of like, hey, mom or dad, can I have $20 to go do this? And it's like, yeah, sure. Like, here you go.
Yes.
That's crazy. So, I mean, in the app, what are kids learning, or what is it, parents and kids working on this together? Is it, kind of separate? Do you have different users, or how does that all work?
Great question. So when we started building the app, the fundamental thing was we needed a digital piggy bank for little kids. And it's really just IOU money. Every parent knows the bank of mom and dad because it's like this crazy thing. You have the bank of mom and dad, you keep the information in your head, and the balance just goes up and up. Kids never actually spend any money, but they do. They just don't keep track of it.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. We just need a digital piggy bank because piggy banks are obsolete, and it was COVID time. No one's using cash.
Right.
So that's the first thing. But then the question was, if we're going to be teaching little kids the principles of money, what is that principle we need to teach, and how can we teach it to a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old? That principle is delayed gratification. Like, if you can teach kids delayed gratification, you've set them up for life. So how can we make that concept fun for kids? And we did it with a now patented system we called the puzzle system. So let's say little Johnny wants my glass of water. We would take a picture of that glass of water, and our app breaks it up into pieces. And then he has to earn that glass of water piece by piece. So he cleans his bedroom, he gets a piece, and he literally watches that glass of water come together with his efforts.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get it right away. He has just learned that it takes effort to earn, and he's waited for it until the end.
Yeah.
So that we did patent a couple of years ago, and that is the way we teach little kids about delayed gratification. And you can start it as early as 3, but it works with teenagers just as well.
No, it totally makes sense. I mean, especially now, what have you guys learned as kind of like short form content, TikTok, like Instagram Reels, all that has gone on? Does that thinking incorporate into your guys' app at all in terms of like, what do we need to do to keep people's attention? I mean, how do we, raise retention, all that?
We do a lot, I would say, YouTube Shorts.
Okay.
One of our big pushes is like Youth Month, Financial Youth Month, Credit Union Youth Month, and we do little shorts on different things. So last year it was different types of investments, like I would say 1-minute little clips of kids going through the solar system. It's really cute. Teaching about everything from bonds to the stock market to crypto. Like, there's nothing we really shy away from. Those things aren't built into the app just because parents have told us they want the app to be a very safe ecosystem where their kids can go on. They simply access the app. They put in their money. They put in their chores. They're not linking out to something else. The whole addiction factor of scrolling YouTube, Instagram. We have a lot of parents who just aren't interested in that. So if they are, kids can find us on social media. They can find us on YouTube. But more for the app itself, we've tried to keep that as a very pure system that parents can do with their kids that kind of stays in-house. Yeah.
As far as the relation for, what kids are working on versus how that interacts and like interfaces with the parents, do the parents also have a, kind of a portal where they can maybe improve their financial skills? Or is that like question. Separate?
So it's funny you say that, because one of the cooler moments we had was a message from a parent telling us, I didn't know this before I started using this app with my child. So every single day in the app, there's what we call the question of the day. And kids log on, they open it up, and they answer just one question a day that teaches them some element of financial literacy, right? And parents can do that with their kids. And it's a very approachable way for parents to learn.
Yeah.
We don't want to lecture anyone. Nicole and I always say that the values we're teaching are universal, but different people spend money on different things. Different people value different things. We don't want to lecture anyone. We just want them to be able to find the principles of, finances here on our app. So a lot of parents are learning with their kids as they go through. And more importantly, it sparks family discussions just all the time. Like the discussions they're having around the dinner table now include money, which money is more taboo in this country than religion or politics.
Which is so weird.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I've never understood that. I mean, now like obviously working in finance, like I'm talking about it every day, all day, all the time. I went out to dinner with a bunch of my friends, and luckily we're all like kind of on the same page in terms of like all that stuff. I'm like we can talk about it and it's not weird. Like no one's caring if like, my friend's making more money than me, I'm making more money than them, or like how people are spending it, like what they're spending on. Like, it's not weird. It's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, how do you approach this? Like, whatever. I don't know where that started. And I feel like that's a very generational thing of like my grandparents, like never talk about it. Like my parents are like a little bit more, but still not, super open. I mean, I've had like a bunch of conversations with my dad now that I am like a, quote unquote finance professional of like, oh, we should talk about that. And like, you can, weigh in on like my finance or my investments or whatever. Never happened, but like it's brought up more often. When do you think, is this app helping out with the next generation of people to kind of break that down?
Absolutely. Because that is one of the purposes, that is to spark conversations, to have parents talking to kids about money, and not just. One of the biggest mistakes parents make, and I'm a parent, so I make this mistake, it's just handing a kid your credit card. Like they need something, they're doing your grocery shopping, whatever, you just hand them the credit card, and they get very used to just swiping a credit card and not really understanding like everything that went into putting money into that credit card, right? Like building of the credit. Our app has a little credit score so kids can start to understand that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's fun.
Cool.
It's really fun. They can build their own credit. It's just to understand what a credit score
which is important. I feel like there are adults. It's so confusing how that works. I doubt there's a single person that knows like top to bottom, like how it works, how it fluctuates, like all that stuff. It's like kind of a black box if you think about it. 100%.
And how to start building credit for your kids early on, which impacts so much, right? It impacts their interest rates. So I don't even remember where I was going with that, but something about, I forgot the initial question.
It's okay. I'm talking about finances with
that's right.
kids.
Right. So it just sparks these conversations. So not giving your kid just a credit card to have them swipe. You're a million times better off giving them a $20 bill, right? And having them actually have to go budget whatever they're buying in that $20 range or however much it is. Like my kids are at the movies right now. Instead of just swiping and giving them popcorn, you're better off giving them, $7, $10 to buy all their candy. So they start to understand, and letting them keep the leftover money, because some kids will be like, hey, guess what? I don't want popcorn. I'd rather have that $8. So a big mistake we make as parents is just giving kids the illusion that money is never ending. And it's a lie. And they don't even realize that until they get to college. And it's like, oh, wow. Like now I have to pay for my own stuff and it has to come from somewhere.
No, that is a great point. Because when you're kids, like for me, it was a little bit different because credit cards and debit cards and stuff obviously were a thing, but mainly more things were in cash. So I was very aware of like, here's $10, like you have that much. And I was like, you'd spend, $7.50 or whatever, and you get that back. And it was like this whole thing of like, you learn very quickly of like, okay, if I have this chunk and I spend, that much amount, and I have this much left. With the credit card, it's like, they're not looking at the account statement at the end of the month. They're not looking at how much is starting versus how much is ending. It's just like, oh, let me just like bing, bing, bing,
swipe.
Yeah. That's, incredible. And so with the app and where it's going, what are you guys kind of targeting now? How does it interact or interface with, I know you're kind of involved with credit unions and different banks, and like, how has that evolved over time?
Great question. So our company started as just a business to consumer company. As I mentioned, we put it in the app and Play Store, and our friends were using it. And then other people started downloading and using it, and it was incredible. It was
awesome.
So much fun just to see. We did no publicity. We have no marketing.
That's incredible.
And people are just finding us and using the app.
That's awesome.
But we had to charge for it because like it costs money to
right. Yeah, right. Weird. Yeah.
So we have to pay someone to maintain the app for us.
Yeah.
And it occurred to us that we were not having impact in the way that we wanted to have impact. Nicole and I didn't start this business for any other reason aside from we wanted to help people teach their kids about money. That was our goal. We want to make impact. And if we have to charge people, we're not making that impact because a lot of people who really need it cannot afford to pay even $3.99 a month for an app.
Isn't that crazy? It's like when you look on the App Store and if something's $4.99, you're like, that is absurd. Like $5 is crazy.
Right. You just can't. Right. So we weren't having the impact we wanted to have. So we had this conversation and we said, how can we offer our app for free? Whose values really align with ours as far as giving financial education to their communities? And that's where we found credit unions. Mm-hmm. And they were really our very first partners. It was a credit union in Arizona, in Tempe, Arizona, Landings. That was our first partner.
Nice.
And their values just align with ours. They want to spread financial education in their community. And so now they sponsor our content and they give it to their communities for free. And I think we have 45 partners now. And it spans, it's not only credit unions, it's banks, and it's also wealth management companies who are interested in educating the next generation with these tools. And once we did that, we're able to give all of our content out for free, which has a much bigger impact.
Yeah. I mean, that completely makes sense. I mean, from a bank's perspective, you're lowering the risk of your, future potential customers, which then, they're going to bank with you more because they know you. If your logo has been on the thing since they were 4 years old, I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. I mean, that's like no-brainer.
That's how we see it.
That's awesome.
And to your point, their logo, so we white label the app for our partners, and then it's geolocated in their communities. So if you download the app, wherever you are, you're going to get your local sponsor.
That makes sense.
But we believe this is a win-win because it's also good for the kids to stay with these banking institutions as opposed to just going and finding the newest one online, the newest app, right? Maybe people that don't have their best interests at heart the way these credit unions, community banks, and wealth managers do. A lot of the wealth managers that we partner with, they've been working with these children's parents for generations. And then the kid gets some money because it's transferred or they earn it, and their buddies like, hey, I'm going into that business. How about you send it my way? And boom, all their money's gone. They've broken friendships, right? So our goal is both to help our partners, but also to help the community by creating this kind of longevity and long partnerships with people who have their best interests at heart.
Yeah, that's fantastic. How is that business model and relationship developed over time with the banks, with different credit unions? I mean, how do you separate the education and the benefit versus the banks? I mean, obviously there's you're playing both sides of it. It's like you want to be, you are providing the education and the well-being and like betterment for the people, but then also the banks on the flip side are kind of like, yes, we are providing that, but we're also really hoping that eventually they come to us. So how 100%. Do you kind of, differentiate both sides of that as the, business operator?
That is where our business model is so great. And we haven't really had to veer from our kind of social entrepreneurship model because it is good for everybody. It's good for our partners, and it's good for the kids, and it's good for the families. Like the more we can create these systems where a family is at the same institution for generations, where when they walk in, they know them, where they can get a loan at decent terms instead of going to a payday lender, the better it is for everybody. It's very actually interesting right now because we are seeing banking and credit union deserts where there are communities that just do not have banks or credit unions in them. The families have to drive miles and miles to get to one. So guess what pops up? like the loan sharks, the payday loan, like that is what's popping up in those communities to fill this void. And that is so bad for everyone involved. So we don't really see it as a conflict. We see it as just us helping connect our partners with the next generation. And it's good for everybody involved.
Definitely. What has been kind of the biggest, I don't know about surprises, but biggest kind of wins when you've looked at case studies of kids using this? I mean, habits changing, like how has that kind of impacted you personally or impacted the communities? I mean, you're working with, I mean, I'm sure there's some crazy stories of like, Jimmy was spending thousands of dollars and now he's like worried about how much he has in his savings account.
Yes, they're saving. Okay. So probably our biggest win that Nicole and I were both there for was we were teaching a class at a low-income aftercare program. And the class we were teaching is wants versus needs, and we run a little grocery store. I can explain a little bit more about our classes, but we're running this and it's all of these kids, and one of the kids is talking about his Nikes. And after our class, another kid looked at him and said, hey, you know, those shoes are fine. Your Nikes are nice, but my shoes are fine too. My shoes are a need and yours are a want. And it was like, I mean,
That's
Nicole's
awesome.
a little bit of a crier, and I'm pretty sure she teared up because it was the message we are trying to teach these kids.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need that. Let's take care of our needs first, then we can move on to our wants. And so many people go into debt that they cannot get out of.
Buying crazy things.
By buying things they just don't need and cannot afford. My business partner, Nicole, is also a former attorney, and she did her pro bono work helping people get out of debt. And she said it was the saddest thing because during the day at her day job, she's restructuring companies, she's doing like financing, and then at night she's helping someone who bought a $400 computer that now they owe $1,000 on, and they can't get out of the debt. So if we can really truly be the upstream solution to stop those purchases until you can actually afford it, so that you know, those Nikes, which by the way, like you can finance a pair of Nikes.
Can you really?
Yes. So those Nikes that
Does Nike offer financing?
I don't know. Nike, no, it's all third parties,
That
right?
would be
It's all,
crazy.
everything is third party financing now. So you can buy a pair of Nikes and you can spend $150 on them. Or you can buy a pair of Nikes and you can finance them, and now those Nikes cost you $500, right? So our goal is to just be the upstream solution, so those kids understand, hey, I don't need to buy those until I can actually afford those.
Right.
I need to buy X, Y, and Z. And these Nikes are a want, and when I can afford those, I can go get those. So I would say that was probably that one kid really, truly understanding the lesson we were teaching had the biggest impact on us.
And that is even more impressive when you think about all of the social media content. I mean, what you're seeing all the time on the news or with celebrities or, you know, tabloids they see at the grocery store. I mean, everything is like, you need more and you need better and you need bigger and more expensive and like, you know, bling and blitz and whatever. And so the fact that you got through to a kid being like, oh, I don't actually need that. Like, shoes are kind of just shoes.
Yes.
You know, that's, I mean, awesome.
And as I said, we're not values-based. I don't care if you want Nikes.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. Buy whatever you want. I mean, during COVID, when people got COVID checks, big screen TVs were what sold out. I mean, that's what people were buying. And it kind of just killed me because I was like, hey, maybe that's not the best use. Now, if you want a big screen TV,
go crazy.
Go crazy. Buy the big screen TV. We are not values-based. Money is a tool, right? That's what money is. You just use it as a tool. But what we don't want money to be is a weapon that's used against you. And for so many people, it ends up being something used against them. That $150 pair of Nikes they want now becomes a $500 debt. And that is something we're trying to teach people to avoid. Not that you can't have the Nikes, you can have them, or not that you can't have the TV, you can have it. But how can you have those things in a healthy way so they don't end up causing like stress? Because money is one of the number one stressors in this country, and it leads to just horrible mental health issues. And if we can get kids early and kind of head that off, then we will have succeeded.
How do you, is there an aspect of the app that tackles that aspect, like more of the mental aspect? Because I think obviously a lot of it depends on like how you grew up and like what, you know, how your family stacks up and everything. But I think that's a problem even at, you know, mid to high tier of like, you know, feeling like you never have enough, even when you objectively, like, you know, you do. And even for like for me, like, I mean, again, I do this all the time, like literally is my job day to day, but like still like for me personally, I'm like, oh God, like, is it enough? Like looking out at, you know, 6 months, a year, like whatever. I mean, it's always in the back of my head.
Yeah.
So how, like, do you guys tackle that at all? Or is that something in the future?
So children's mental health is one of our number one issues. And the first and only person that we ever gave equity to without an investment is a child psychologist. She was the very first person we talked to. Awesome. And she helps us with this side of it because that is a huge issue right now. There is a mental health crisis with children. Yeah. And when we sat down with her, like right when we were starting this company, we said, how can we be part of that solution? We want to teach kids about money, but also we need to build them up. And that is where our puzzle system actually does double duty. It not only teaches delayed gratification. Dr. Gatt is our psychologist. What she said is that children who aren't given an opportunity to achieve do not have those good feelings about themselves. And that is leading to a mental health crisis in children. So she helped us build these puzzles because every single time a child earns a piece, it is like a good little dopamine hit that they feel good about themselves, that they have accomplished something. It's that feeling you get when you finish a race, when you get an A on a test. It's that feeling you get when you work for something and you accomplish it. So every single puzzle piece gives them that. And then when they finish the puzzle, it's like an even bigger accomplishment for them. So it's building up kids' self-esteem so that then they can turn down some of those things. Like you're talking about that feeling that it's never enough. We don't want kids to have that. We want them to know that they are enough. Yeah. And if we can build that self-confidence in them early, then the goal is that maybe they turn down those things that they really don't need when they're older. Like, I mean, you see this pressure in high school kids so much. It's not just that they need a jacket. They need an aloe jacket.
They need the jacket.
They need the It's not just jackets. It's socks. You don't need socks. You need Lulu's latest socks. There are socks that cost upwards of like $40. Yeah. It's hilarious. So yes, if that's what's going to make you happy, fine. Like, of course, go buy those socks. But first you need to make sure that you can afford those socks. And if you cannot, if you need something more than you need those socks, then building up that self-esteem in kids where they can be like, yeah, those socks, that's a want. My socks are fine too.
They're fine. That high fashion has always been something that has baffled me like my whole life, because it's never been a part of my life, like my family's life. Like nobody is like out there flashing like whatever. It's like we all have like clothes, and if like you take off the logo, it's the same as like whatever. And it's just always blew my mind, especially like, you know, in high school is like kind of the first time that it got to another level of like you see people wearing like not just the Nikes, but like the Nike limited edition, like this or that other thing that instead of the, you know, $150, now they cost $450. And I'm like, ooh, like, you know, it's all that. It's just, it's absurd. But yeah, to your point again, it's like, not that you can't have that.
Right.
But just make sure that it's not going to ruin your whole life.
That's exactly it. That you can afford it. And if we're buying it for our kids, that they understand how much it costs.
Right.
Starbucks is a big thing.
Oh, outrageous.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Like kids love Starbucks. Yeah. And I have a teenage daughter now who can walk to Starbucks from school on her own. And I love it because now this girl understands how much Starbucks costs.
It's outrageous.
For the first time, right? She gets it. And is starting to do the mental math of how much she has to work to get a latte. Like that is a life lesson that she's learning, that I don't know that you can convey that to them. They just kind of have to see it. But again, that's something where if you make them buy it on their own, all of a sudden they understand it a little more. They're making different choices. It's incredible how easily children spend their parents' money and then give them their own money to spend. They're much more frugal.
Oh yeah.
So this generation coming up is one of the more frugal generations, believe it or not. They're incredibly good at spending their parents' money, and they're very good at saving their own money. So that gives me a little bit of hope for the future, that this next generation will be a little better than the last generation.
That is interesting. Yeah. Next question that comes to mind is, is there ever plans to morph this into a more like in-person, into the school system?
Oh,
integrate
we're there.
into. Oh, okay.
Love that you asked that. Yes,
Yeah.
we are absolutely. Oh, I just got some numbers this morning on how many students we have using our content. I think it's 32,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, so we are in schools. That's a great question.
That's fantastic.
And that was driven by our partners. Our partners came to us and said, hey, we want to be impacting schools. We know there's a lot of students there. How can we do that? So we do it in a couple different ways. One, we provide content for teachers. Now, this is very difficult. Teachers are overworked, underpaid, constantly being told that they need to teach X, Y, and Z, and they have a tiny amount of time to do it in. So teachers struggle with that. So we worked with teachers to build content that is very easy for them. Now, there's a lot of mandates in high school for financial education, but that's too late. So our question was, how can we get into elementary education? And we do it in a couple different ways, but one of it is just providing very simple, fun, easy content for teachers to do with their students. It's like worksheets. The app works in classrooms. Many teachers are using that. Just very approachable ways. And then the other thing we do is we connect our partners, so banks, credit unions, wealth management companies, with their schools. So they actually go in and teach classes in the schools, and we provide everything. It's a turnkey solution. So we give them lessons to teach. It's usually hour-long lessons on wants versus needs, or this upcoming year, the new lesson we're providing is loans, to teach kids all about different types of loans.
Smart.
Last year, our big push was investment types. So we give our partners all of the content. They go in, they teach classes, they connect with the students in their local communities, and the students come out learning something. It's a win-win because teachers have now been able to have an hour where they get to sit back and grade some papers.
Like, thank God, some time to just
100%.
do my job.
So I would say the last 2 years, it's been a big push to get content into schools and start teaching it earlier than we're teaching it.
That's awesome. I feel like, I'm sure it is mandated in some schools. Like, I never got any classes on like maybe in like a math class, there was like a day where they would show like, what is the guy's name? Like Dave Ramsey or whatever, which I've now come
amazing.
I'm like, that guy, there's like, it needs to have like a big, broad thing on it. But, to
that point, Nicole and I always marvel. Like, I can tell you the capital of Rhode Island. Like, my kids could sit here and spit out states and capitals. Information they're not going to need. But kids are graduating and they don't understand what taxes are. Not even how to file taxes. They don't even understand what taxes are. So money decisions are a day-to-day thing. Like, every day you are faced with making financial decisions, and we don't teach that. But we're like, hey, you need to know, right? The capital of Rhode Island, which I'm not dissing that. It's good to know.
It's good to know. Also, for like trivia night.
Right. Also, you need to understand money. So I do think in the last, 5, 6, 7 years, there has been a push to get more financial education in schools. And this is just the perfect way to do it. Our banks, credit unions, wealth managers, they want to help their communities. They want a better educated community, and they are willing to take the time to go teach. And teachers love having guest speakers.
I bet,
So it's really a great, one of the main issues for our partners is how do we do that? What do we teach? And that's where we're experts. Like, we're like, great, we have teachers, we work with teachers, principals, and of course, Nicole and I, over many years, have become experts in the subject of children's financial education. So we just give them nice little packages with a bow on it. They walk in and they teach it. And not only in schools, they do it at Boys and Girls Clubs, they do it at summer camps. We do a super fun business fair where kids build their own businesses. There's just a lot of content out there to connect with your community.
That's fantastic. When you guys were developing the app, and it seems like you kind of have geared this towards kind of just showing them a different approach. How was the original thought of fighting families that teach, debt is bad, like money is bad, like you need to use it in this way, like almost the opposite of like, if you just ignore it and like never worry about it and don't think about it, like it will end up fine. Like it's not a priority in life. I mean, how do you, because there's two sides of the same coin of like, there's that side of it, and then there's the other side where it's like money is everything. This is the only thing you need to focus on. I mean, it sounds like you guys have found the nice middle road. I mean, was that kind of in your mind when you were developing the business?
Meeting families where they are.
Right.
We don't want to lecture. I mean, like I said, we have 7 kids between us, so we do plenty of lecturing.
On your own.
The last thing we want to do is lecture or put ourselves out there as some sort of moral superiors in this area. We just want to help families and meet them where they are. So it's more about sparking discussions and being very approachable. So the number one reason people come to our app isn't because they're looking for financial education. It's because they're looking for a chore and allowance app. They're just looking for a way to get their kids to do chores. That is a universal thing. Yeah. I would say probably 90% of parents want their kids doing some chores, right? Some parents at least want their kids cleaning their room. Some kids are milking cows and like running farms. Okay. But across the spectrum, people want their kids doing something. So how do we track chores? That's where our app comes into play. So it's a very approachable way. It's not parents, it's a very small percentage of parents who find us looking for financial education.
That makes sense.
Financial education is just kind of what comes along with it, because if you are doing chores, you're learning. And if you're getting paid to do chores, you're spending your own money and you're learning. So it's mostly about being approachable. Someone said it's chocolate covered broccoli, which is my least favorite. I can't unhear it.
That's terrible.
That's horrible.
Awful. I guess a compliment.
It's terrible. I really hate it because chocolate covered broccoli is disgusting. Like there's nothing good about chocolate covered broccoli, but the point is the broccoli is kind of gross. Chocolate's good. And if you cover the broccoli in chocolate, you can get kids to eat it. So now I'm sorry, funny. You won't be able to unhear that and chocolate covered broccoli.
That's hilarious. That's definitely coming from a parent that had like a terrible financial upbringing. They're like, this stuff is awful.
Yes.
I mean, when you're looking at the debt crisis, where people are at right now, helping the next generation come up, I mean, where do you see all of that on kind of a macroeconomic scale? I mean, if this kind of continues, I mean, even like a political, legislation wise.
Right.
I mean, where does that go? I mean, because have you looked up, I'm sure you have, like the website you can look up, it's like governmentdebt.com. And it's just like, it's like the big ticker. It's just like,
I think we actually linked to that from one of our articles. We do write kids articles, and one of them is on the national debt, just so they can understand what that looks like. Yeah, that's a good question, because we have two things kind of coming together at once. We have what will be the biggest wealth transfer, I think, in the history of our country. That is happening right now. It is trillions of dollars of debt that is going to be passed down from one generation to the next. Yeah. At the same time, we have an insane debt crisis where the vast majority of our families, if a crisis hit their family, they couldn't afford $1,000 to get themselves out of it. Yeah. So how do we address both sides of this coin? And the amazing thing is they're both addressed with the same education. Like, it's just financial education and understanding how money works. Kids are graduating college with like an average of, I want to say, $5,000 in credit card debt. That's not student loan debt. Like, that's credit card debt. And that $5,000 quickly balloons. Yeah. So we both need to head that off and head off the situation where we're going to have all of these younger generations receiving money that was, hard-earned money. How do we keep them from wasting that money, right? Yeah. How do we kind of convey that someone worked very, very hard for this, and it's your obligation to be a good steward, just like you need to be a good steward of your home, your environment, you need to be a good steward of your money. Yeah. And I do believe we do that with financial education, because if people are educated about how it works, how loans work, how debt works, then they can make money work for them instead of spending their whole life having to work for money.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. When you're looking at My First Nest Egg, great name, by the way.
Thank you.
5 years from now, what is kind of that vision, and what do you want it to be, 2030?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Because I'm sure when you have a startup, especially a little bit of an accidental startup, a social startup. You spend so much time focused on the right now. What are we doing right now? My business partner, Nicole, is our visionary. She is always looking 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And then what she does is she tells me what she wants. And then I'm our COO. She's like, now make it happen.
Figure out how to do that.
It's really kind of fun. If I were to give one piece of advice to startup founders, it's find someone like that. Find someone who truly complements you, because there's no friction there. She's like, this is my vision. Go figure out how it's going to happen. And I don't want to be coming up with a vision, and she doesn't want to be making it happen. So it works really well. But I would say if we're looking down the road, it's all about just impacting more and more and more kids. That's it. All we want to do is impact children in a positive way, both financially and their mental health. It is kids down the road in 10, 20 years who are making better decisions about where they're going to go to college. They are not just signing on the dotted line. They're understanding that they're going to have to pay that back and how much it's going to cost. It's just a generation of children growing up understanding the implications of money and how they can make it work for them. So I don't know. That's the funny thing about a company that you start just to kind of help. You just want to help more and more people. So we really measure our impact and how many kids we're seeing come through the app. We're seeing in our schools, like how many kids at a very young age are getting financial education. And the more we can balloon that, the better.
I love it. I think you hit on an important point there with college, especially. It's like if you teach at a young age, like, hey, $50,000 a year is not a small amount. I mean, I went to a high school where that was kind of the norm. It was like, 60 grand a year for college was kind of like, yeah, that's just what it costs. Like, that's just what everyone was doing. It was like what the high school was pushing. It was the people they had come in. It was like, yeah, if it wasn't 60, it was 70, or if it wasn't 80. And it was like, anything less than like 40, I was like, oh, that's like free, basically. And then, to find out that's like so unrealistic. And there's so many other options that are like,
so many,
$5,000, $10,000. And it's like the same thing pretty much. You're just going to a different, your piece of paper says a different name.
Yeah, it's interesting. So when I was going to law school, I got into University of Washington, and I got into other schools like Georgetown, which were much more prestigious.
Sure.
But it was all about making a decision. I wanted to go into public service. I always knew that I wanted to go into public service. And looking at the amount of debt I would have to take on to go to Georgetown versus University of Washington, which was, I believe, $6,000 a year for a law school.
Yeah.
When I started there. Now, granted, our building looked like a bomb shelter. Yeah. It was basically a bunker. But I didn't care, because it was $6,000 versus, I think at the time, $50,000 or $60,000 for Georgetown. And just teaching more kids to make those decisions early on. But I am very heartened, because I have a daughter in high school, and her friends are starting to talk about college. And several of them are talking about going to community college for 2 years, or going to state school for 2 years, knocking out some prereqs and then going where they want to go later on. And they're actually having these financial discussions. It's a little less about just signing on the dotted line. It is not sustainable to have kids taking out $200,000 in loans to go do very admirable professions, such as social work, right? We need social workers. That's incredible. We need teachers, absolutely. But taking on hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt to go into a profession where you are going to struggle to pay that back is not fair. There are better options. So it's totally crazy. So if we can teach kids about those options early, and again, it just comes back to understanding money. Understanding that it exists, understanding that if you take out a loan, you're going to have to repay it. If they understand that, I think that they will make better decisions. Yeah,
I love it. I mean, kind of switching from the main business model to more about your founder's journey. I mean, what has that been like, going from very structured, like legal work, doing that, going to school, doing that? I mean, what, for 10 years?
Yeah, over 10 years.
Yeah. And then kind of going into this very different realm of like, no, it's pretty much just whatever you want to do. And like, if it works, that's awesome. If it fails, then that's also on you. So, I mean, what was that switch like, and how do you kind of, use your skills from the previous career to the now, but then also obviously it's much different. I mean, what was that all like?
I will preface this by saying I loved being a lawyer.
Yeah.
Just loved it. I was a prosecutor for over 10 years. I did everything from, of course, starting with theft to doing, capital murder cases at the end of my career. It was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. And I left when I was pregnant with my fourth. It was just a decision that I wanted to spend more time home with my kids. Yeah. And being a prosecutor was so much fun, but it was also a lot of stress. Yeah. And I wanted to be more present. So I left, I came home, stayed home with the kids, but my mind always knew that I wanted to do something with it, right? I love being home, but I also wanted to do something else. So when this opportunity presented itself, it was kind of an easy one to say, yeah, I'll jump into that. Now, I think one of our favorite quotes is that we didn't do this because it was easy. We did it because we thought it would be easy. Nicole and I had no idea. Like, she definitely worked with entrepreneurs in her previous career. So she had a better idea than I did how difficult it is to start and build a company. I had no idea whatsoever. But now I do, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's fun. I love figuring out problems. And that's where a law degree is very helpful. A lot of people get law degrees and don't end up using them to be lawyers. And I'm now one of those people. A big part about being a litigator is that you're just literally always trying to solve problems. And that's exactly what we do in this company. You are given a problem and you just try to solve it. And if you're a lean founder, which we were, because no one, but it's very hard to find people who want to fund a company founded by two moms who have never founded a company before. It's not like people were knocking on our doors to fund our company. Right. In fact, there were at the beginning 0 people doing that. So it was all Nicole and I. So we were very lean. And that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to us, because now we are very good at testing and learning with small amounts of money. We never throw a lot of money at something until we know that it is a proven method. So the journey has just, it's great. It's long, it's fun, it's a lot of work, but having my best friend as my co-founder makes all the difference.
That's awesome. If you're going to give a, aspiring founder, maybe first time founder, one piece of advice from everything you've learned thus far, what would that be?
I would just say get very comfortable with failure.
Buckle in.
That's right. And that is, so when I was at the DA's office, I was very comfortable with winning. Yeah. Right. I mean, when you're a prosecutor, you pick your cases, you cultivate them from the beginning, you know what you're doing. And I really, I won a lot. And then you found a company and you're like, wow, I am going to fail all the time. But our company's a success. Yeah. So it's those little failures truly lead you to success. Yeah. I think failure teaches you the most. And it is very difficult at the beginning. There were many times where we were just like, are we going to be able to do this? Yeah. Is this company going to be profitable? Is this worth doing? But having a social mission kind of answers those questions for you, because we were never in it to make the money. We were always in it to make an impact. So since we were always making an impact, it was very easy to say, yeah, we're going to keep going. Yeah. And then the success of the company kind of started to roll in after that.
Yeah. We have a quote wall upstairs, and a lot of them are about being a founder and like persevering or whatever. And there's this one, I don't remember who is it by, but I believe the quote is, founding a company is like chewing a mouthful of glass. Like, you don't get used to it, but you just get used to like the taste. Basically is like, you
just get used to the pain.
Pretty much.
I will say, Nicole, my co-founder, I say she's an optimist. She says I'm a pessimist, and we both think we're realists.
Balance that. Yeah.
We completely balance each other out. I don't know if it's different for men founding a company. I know as a woman founder, having a co-founder has made a huge difference because I always have a sounding board, and it's almost like a marriage. You both, you can't both be down at the same time. Yeah. one of you needs to be up if the other one's down. So if one of us is having a bad day, because we manage very different aspects of the company. If one of us is having a bad day, we always have that person to kind of pull us back in and help us feel better about it. And that has made a very big difference, where I think it's easier for one person to give up. And I don't know the stat. It's what is it? 90% of startups fail in the first year.
It might even be higher than that.
Yeah.
I think, there's this crazy stat that's like, within the first year, within the first 3 years, within the first 5 years. And then I think that's kind of the point where if you get beyond that, there might be like a market 10 and 15.
Right.
But I mean, the odds are like,
it's not good.
I mean,
It's not good. It's like, never tell me the odds.
Don't tell me the odds.
Don't tell me the odds. But I think it would be harder for solopreneurs, because I think throwing in the towel is easier when it's just you, but you don't also want to disappoint your co-founder. And then when we did finally get to a point where we were taking on friends and family investment, well, then it's just, you're in it for the long haul. You're locked in. There was, it's a funny story. Nicole and I were doing our first friends and family raise, and Nicole would try to talk people into giving us money, and I would just simultaneously be trying to talk them out of it.
You're like, don't
She's
do
like,
it.
Annie,
we don't know what we're
talking
doing.
to people. I hated it. I was like, I don't want their money. It's too stressful. The second you take on someone else's money, it is so stressful. But again, it pushes you.
Yeah.
Right? That pressure, which I always felt at the DA's office, that pressure was always on my shoulders, because I wasn't winning for myself. I was winning for my victims.
Right.
That pressure now of having investors, it definitely helps you, because it's not just you anymore. And now it's not just you and your co-founder. Yeah. Now it's you, your co-founder, and friends, families, and other investors. So I think that's also helped us, not just the investment itself, but the pressure. We are not going to let these people down, pushes us forward.
I love that. I'm always convincing people kind of on the same vein, being like, I think I want to raise money. I'm like, I know that you don't. Like, I know for a fact that that's the last thing you want to do. Unless they come, and there's like concrete business plan, like this is exactly what I'm going to use it for. Yes. People that just want to do it to like say they've raised, venture capital money or like outside funding. I'm like, that is quite literally the last thing you want to do.
Absolutely.
Like,
it just,
why in the world would you want to do that?
It's just, everything is different when it's somebody else's money. And that's why I say being a lean company and having to do it without that at the beginning is great, because we treat these people's money like it's our money. Yeah. I mean, we are so frugal. It's kind of like people make fun of us for it, but it's because we spent years where it was all our own money. Yeah. So now I give that credit for kind of getting us through these last hard years. It was kind of hard for business for a few years. Yeah. And I think it's that we were so lean, we managed to make it through difficult times. And now obviously it's a lot better, but starting out having to be very lean, we've carried those lessons through. And I think every founder really should start that way. I don't know that it's great to raise someone else's money. At the beginning, if you're spending your own money, it teaches you a lot of lessons, and then you can take that into spending someone else's money.
I mean, kind of going back to like your original mission, right? It's like when you have somebody else's funds on top of you, you're like, oh, whatever, we can just it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I mean, congratulations on your company. It seems like you guys are having phenomenal success. The mission is awesome. I mean, this is something I've been talking about for quite some time, of like myself growing up and like watching my friends, like how they deal with money and everything. So, I mean, it's so needed. I mean, across the board for everybody. Like, I
agree.
Yeah, it's a necessity. Where can people find you, reach out to you? I mean, you said on the App Store. Everyone's going to be watching this and then go and download the apps for their kids.
Download the app. We're on the App and Play Store, or we're at myfirstnestegg.com, or you can find us on YouTube. There's fun videos there for kids too.
Awesome. All right. Any last words before we wrap it up?
No, just thank you so much for having me. This has been great. Yeah. It's so much fun to talk about. Like, I truly enjoy the whole journey, teaching kids financial education, working with parents, and the startup side. Like, it's been such a blessing in my life for the last 5 years. It's fun to talk about.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you so much.